Michelle Murphy, Research and Policy Analyst at Social Justice Ireland, discusses the issue of employment. What is your understanding of work?
In Social Justice Ireland, our understanding of work is that work is not just paid employment. At the moment, what society tends to focus on is they understand work as being a job, which is paid employment, but an awful lot of work out there is done which is not remunerated and not paid, and we have to move away from a narrow focus of work just being seen as paid employment. So for example, a lot of work done in the community and voluntary sector, a lot of caring work, the work done in the home, for example, is not paid. It's not paid employment, it's not a job, but it's still work. So we need to change and rethink our whole understanding of the concept of work, because at present the definition is extremely narrow and it only considers paid employment, which ignores all the other work being done in the home and in the community and in society, and that work is fundamental to how our society functions.
And how is the changing nature of employment impacting on society?
Well, it's having an impact in terms of our unemployment levels, in terms of the precariousness of employment and the different types of jobs coming online. So if you look at, for example, manual work or construction or low-skilled work, there's been a huge fall-off in employment in that sector. And what you're also seeing is that unemployment now is not necessarily just being driven by demand issues, that there isn't a demand for that kind of work. It's also become cyclical in a way, in that the labour market is changing. So with certain positions being automated, there's no longer any demand for that skill or that work. So what we need to look at is upskilling people who are unemployed, but also look at people who are in positions that will possibly become automated in the future, and we need to look at upskilling them also. But employment is also becoming more precarious. What you're seeing in Ireland is growing underemployment, growing part-time employment, increasingly precarious work, people on 0-hour contracts, so it makes it very hard to plan. So underemployment is defined as someone who is working part-time hours but is available for full-time work, but full-time work or extra hours are not available to them. So 7% of the labour force are considered underemployed. We've had a 17% increase in part-time employment since the recession began in 2008. And we've also seen a fall off in employment among the younger age group, that is 15 to 25, which is worrying. So that means in the long run, we will still have a large cohort of people who are working but are also relying on social welfare in order to bring their income up to such a level that they can make ends meet and they can live their lives with dignity.
How can the government address the issue of long-term unemployment?
Education and upskilling will be a huge part of addressing the issue of long-term unemployment. Almost 60% of the people who are unemployed at the moment are long-term unemployed. And what they should do is resource the upskilling of those people for the jobs that are going to come on stream, to integrate training and labour market programmes, to look at how the review of the apprenticeship system can be used to help those people who are long-term unemployed. And also government needs a major investment programme in order to create jobs on the scale required to address our unemployment problem. We outlined a 7-point plan last year in terms of investment for a 7 billion investment programme over a 4-year period. This would stimulate the domestic economy and should prioritise issues that we need to address at the moment, and also things such as retrofitting houses, looking at our transport infrastructure. All of these things could be addressed in an investment programme, which would also create employment in the economy and generate a return.
And finally, what policy proposals could improve the situation of the working poor?
The definition of working poor is somebody who is in employment, but the income that they earn in employment is not enough to bring them above the poverty line. There is a very simple solution that government could implement, which would really improve the situation of the working poor, approximately 113,000 individuals. What government could do is to make tax credits refundable, the personal tax credit and the PAYE tax credit. Everybody is entitled to those tax credits, but you only get the full value of the tax credits if your income is above a certain point. So those who are considered working poor do not get the full value of their tax credits. So Social Justice Ireland's proposal is that tax credits be made refundable, so that those whose earned income is not enough for them to get the full value of the tax credits would get a refund from government. This would cost about 110 million to implement, and it would improve the situation of 113,000 people. It's a really simple solution to the problem of the working